Today I'm joined by my brother Patrick. Patrick, how was your weekend this week?
Overall, very good. Very, very good. Couldn't pull out the win, but I wasn't planning on winning when I went in, and the fact that I went so far is just an absolute treat. So very happy, very stressed. Feel like I kind of didn't get a weekend because I was thinking all weekend, and then stressed with my kids and childcare. I'm a single dad, 2 young daughters, and trying to figure out how to arrange childcare for them throughout the entire tournament. In the end, worked well, topped, and then got to the championship. It was a phenomenal weekend.
Yeah, for those who don't know, I was the childcare this weekend for a good portion of it. So that's why I wasn't playing. Well, yeah, I watched Saturday morning and Sunday morning throughout Top Cuts. Yeah. But I know that that's a totally canned answer because Patrick's the most competitive person in our entire family by far, and you did want to win the event.
Well, yeah, I wanted to win, but I had no expectations of it. In fact, I didn't think I could. I topped nationals, but then immediately went out in the first round. I knew the deck was good enough to make it, but I didn't think that, I was a good enough pilot to make it. And so the fact that it went as far as it did, phenomenal.
Yeah, you made an improvement because when you went into nationals, we had decided to run this Murio list together, and it's a Murio list that's pretty different from Murio lists that all the other Murio players were playing. It's a very unique list. It's a very disrespectful list in the sense that you're just trying to win as early as possible. So we both played almost the same list, one card different and then different sideboards at nationals. But I had been playing Murio for months and months. You had been playing Murio for 2 weeks before nationals.
And I think that was reflective in our nationals finishes, where you were able to kind of concoct better strategies in game because you had seen different matchups. And for me, I was kind of flying by the seat of my pants, but luckily Murio is a kind of a deck that allows you to not be as experienced and still come up with wins out of nowhere, where sometimes I'll just make a misplay, and those who watch the streams probably saw a couple misplays by me this weekend. I don't think any of them were necessarily game-changing, but a better pilot could have piloted the deck a little better, and I think you're the better pilot, but you weren't playing the event.
No, I thought you played, like, watching the final round, I thought you played games 2 and 3 basically perfect. For what could have... Game 1 probably should have zeroed out the first attack. On Ryuku's turn 3, on the kill turn. Or kept always cool to zero something out. But I thought game 2, you played immaculate defense because the deck, and we're kind of skipping over ourselves here. I was planning on starting way earlier, but the deck kind of in finals kind of sputtered on you.
Yeah.
Like typically it's very, very consistent, and like in the first round Top Cuts, you turn 2 killed a Nomu.
Yeah. Yeah,
you're playing 7 attacks, turn 2, check 5.
Yeah, I mean, in every match, especially in this game, you're going against your opponent, but you're also going against your own deck, and it's an element of randomness. And I think you have to have some randomness to have fun in the game. Otherwise, it's just chess. A game of pure skill, and so the randomness is nice and bad. Jose Neurona was fighting his own deck when he was fighting me, when he was just checking nonstop attacks on one of his turns. I was fighting my deck when I was drawing gray when it was the perfect moment to swing. There was one round during the event where I checked nothing but 3s. My turn 2, my turn 3, and then turn 4. I died because of that. I legitimately checked only 3s the entire game, and I died. And then there was the game against Ace Maneuvers in the top 8, where I check nothing but 5s. I go Phantom Threat, check a 5, throw Phantom into Momentum. I go Rejuvenating, check a 5, draw 2 more cards. I go probably, I don't remember exactly, but it was another on a 5, check a 5. Then I go Capture Evildoers. Here I think I check a 3, so I commit 1.
Yeah, but it's capture, so you don't care.
And then I immediately throw it out and then start off with Hardened Jab, check a 5, pick up the committed, build it back down. Now it's like I never even checked that 3. And
Capture Evildoers into Hardened Jab feels so unfair.
Yeah, and then I did a Hardened Jab, and then finally a Phantom Threat to end it, and it checked 5s throughout. And so there are rounds where you check nothing but 3s, and there's rounds where you check nothing but 5s. It's just how the game is. And so,
and the nice thing about the list is, if you notice, like our list is running 36% attacks, 18 attacks, 50 cards, and all the attacks draw. Most of them, Reju, Valiant, Hardened Jab, all of these are getting you another attack somehow. But you can afford to check 3s because of Capture Evildoers, because Phantom self-clears. So you're playing your Reju smash on a 5 and not on a 6 like most decks. So 3 checks don't really hurt you. And then Hardened Jabs just recover your 3 checks.
Yeah.
And that's part of what makes the deck so consistent. But in that final round, game 1, you had a wide open kill turn. He passed back to you with 2 ready foundations, and they were offense. They were the give your blank attack +1 speed.
Yeah.
And you were at 23 health. You had played pretty solid defense. But you did miss the Murio 0 something, or no, that was on the next turn that you missed that. But so you had a wide open, you had 7 foundations, and you draw, and then you just play a back alley haymaker and build, and then game 3, you once again draw the gray. And that's kind of like the Murio versus Ryuku matchup to me seems a little very coin flippy in some ways. Both decks are just trying to play a million attacks turn 2, and then you just came up a little bit gray.
I think that Murio and Ryuku right now in this format, as of today, I'm hoping tomorrow Capture Evildoers gets banned, but maybe we'll talk about that later. But as of today, I think they're the 2 most consistent aggro decks because of Capture Evildoers. But don't really remember where I was going with that. But they're I was gonna say, people might come away from this event saying, no, Ryukyu is the format, and I bet that's probably the way it goes, and I really hope that Capture Evildoers gets hit, because otherwise I think for your event coming up in a couple weeks, when it's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars on the line, people are going to put aside their pet decks, where right now they're playing their pet decks because they like it and they want to have fun, but then as soon as you add on a ton of money, they're going to try to get the most efficient, best deck. And I worry that if we don't see a change in the meta ASAP, we're going to see 40-50% Ryukyu. I think it's going to be insane. Maybe more Murio. I think, though, that Murio has a really, really, really good matchup against just about every other deck, but in the Murio versus Ryuku matchup, that's a little stacked in favor of Ryuku, because I have to cancel out the first attack. I don't get a choice. And then he can add 4 damage to it, and then I can't block it because now I've committed my character, and so why would I have just committed an extra 1 to block it? So I have to take damage to the face. I don't get my defense. I can't wait. I can't use my Capture Evildoers as aggressively because I have to keep stopping him from having Capture Evildoers, and that's what happened in my in my turn where I was blocking everything. Is I drew all gray except for 2 Capture Evildoers, and then I just had to guess on okay, I can build something, and then but also against Ryukyu always takes away Lemillion of the Big 3. That is,
he was flipping. You had one game, I think, where you built Lemillion to the Big 3 3 times.
Yeah, and they were all flipped.
And he flipped it every single time.
Yeah, but I was able to survive because I was able to take away his momentum. I was just trying desperately to make sure he couldn't capture Evildoers.
Yeah.
And then I had to guess on which block zones I would need. I ended up guessing perfectly, and survived that match, won game 2, then died round 3.
Yeah, I even put, because I was in the chat, I was blowing up the chat in the in the finals, probably annoyingly so to everybody who was in the chat. But you had 2 turns in a row where you basically just built 1 past. And I said in the chat, I think he's just sitting on a hand of all Capture Evildoers. Mm-hmm. I think you're just stuck, and you don't want to let those go because they're so important in the matchup.
Mm-hmm. And I have to, if I draw all gray, against Ryuku, I have to keep a bunch of blocks because he's going to be throwing 6 or 7 attacks on me. I can't say, okay, I'll build that way I can draw more. I have to keep everything. And so it was a struggle. And Jose ran his deck perfectly. One time, his deck fought him. And
he had a moment. His kill turn.
I think
he
checked two, yeah.
Yeah, he checked 2 Dragon Impacts. Then game 3, he drew the 2 Dragon Impacts.
So I think when you look back immediately on your games, you always see where you got slighted against your deck. You never remember the times where you're checking 5s consistently. You always remember the bad stuff. But you got to remember, your opponent's also having bad luck as well. And overall, the game's swingy, but I think it's fair. I think Jose had more practice. I think he knew the game better. He
said afterwards that he had never played Ryukyu.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I guess practice at the game where I had never topped.
Yeah, he's got more
before.
experience. Yeah.
I had never topped an event before. My hands were shaking like crazy. I don't know if you could see it on the stream, but I was so stressed, and so I think his experience and skill at the game really shone through there on that match. So yeah, there was some randomness that hurt me. There was some randomness that hit him, but I think overall the real thing was experience.
Yeah. See, and I'm kind of the opposite mind. See, I'm sure a lot of people watching. I have put myself as like a Ryukyu hater, maybe of sorts, because everybody else is saying this is a top 3 character, and I was saying no, this is like a good character, but not S tier. And for the record, we had 21 Ryukyus. Only 1 got to top 4. It just happened to be that was Jose. And I think if we're all honest with ourselves, Jose was winning the event no matter which character he picked. He won the Season 2 webcam event. He won the Season 1 webcam event. I'm pretty sure he won webcam nationals. So it was just like, and he won Season 1 webcam event with Toga 1. And I don't think everybody was saying, oh, Toga's the best character, clearly. I think it was, wow, Jose really played that deck well and showed off the strengths of Gamer Toga near the end of right before Undaunted Raid came out. So I'm not taking the L. I'm not taking the L on Ryukyu. And I think that in that matchup, I think you still had a 60% win probability because Ryukyu doesn't have low blocks, and because Phantom Threat is a much better lead. Like, Dragon Impact is amazing for Ryukyu, but it sure is just a too high attack.
Yeah. Very
easy to block. Like you were using your It Can't Be Fixed and your self sacks as blocks because her low attack is pretty slow too. It's like 3. It's like 3 low. Yeah, and then the Dragon Impact. So you were successfully getting blocks pretty easily, despite Murio not playing too much defense. So I feel like Phantom Threat's the better lead off. I feel like Ryukyu's not playing low attacks, and a lot of people are disrespecting Murio's zone change right now. Anyway, to me it was frustrating to watch the deck sputter out in the finals because it was so consistent throughout the whole tournament, throughout all of nationals, and then in finals you're drawing the foundations.
Well, the one pushback I'll give on that, and to say that Ryukyu right now I think is just a more powerful deck. It is exactly, I mean, you play the same turn. I think Jose played the exact same turn against me every single time. Lead with the thing that flips my thing, and then boom, take away my character, then boom, go high damage, then pick up the high damage, then put it back. I mean, it was the same over and over, whereas Murio, generally Phantom into Rejuvenating, into something, into Capture Evildoers, into Attack. I mean, in general, it goes the same way. But the one pushback, but you are allowed to have more variety in it. I mean, sometimes you may want to go Jab, Rejuvenating, Capture Evildoers, then Phantom to make sure you can keep getting those momentums.
Right, because if you use Phantom beginning, you can't get the free, and you have Raiding the Villain's Hideout, you can't use Rejuve to get your free momentum.
Yeah, there was one turn, I think at Nationals, where I went Jab into Rejuvenating, grab the momentum, then into Capture Evildoers, then into Phantom, then that went to momentum, into Attack, then another Capture Evildoers because of the Phantom, took that away, Attack, and it was just, there's not a deck in the world that can survive that.
Yeah, so, when you draw the nuts, it's like, there is no stopping it.
Yeah, and but the one pushback I was going to say on the Ryuku matchup is I had 2 losses in the entire event. One in the Swiss rounds and then one at the championship level. And my one loss in the Swiss rounds was also to the Ryukyu, and it was Greg Moss who topped with Ryukyu. So
your only 2 losses the entire event were to the 2 Ryukyus that made top cuts.
Correct. And so maybe I win against other Ryukyus. But then also the Greg Moss. He was the first Ryukyu matchup I had ever gone into. I had never played the matchup.
Right, we never play tested. You'd think that we would be play testing this matchup, but actually we haven't been doing. Before Nationals, we were play testing into each other constantly. Mm-hmm. Since Nationals, I've been play testing people on my Discord. You've been play testing Andrew. He made top cuts, right? The Todoroki 4 player.
Yep, and Andrew Porat.
So we've both been playtesting, but playtesting different people, and you've been doing Bakugo.
And I've been playing Bakugo because I love the new Bakugo. But as soon as the event was set up, I just realized, Capture Evildoers is still alive. Nobody's running low blocks. I think I just run it back. Made a few changes, ran it back. But Greg Moss was able to, after our game, it went pretty quick because we were both playing aggro matchups. He was able to kind of teach me a few things about the matchup that I ended up being able to use in the championship round. And so big shout out to him.
He helps prepare.
No, my matchups going in were kind of crazy because I fought Greg Moss, lost to him. Then going in, I played Carson Panos on
Shoto
his
1,
Shoto
the Nationals
deck.
runner-up.
And then and I had at Nationals, he was my last opponent, and we tied instead of.
For those of you who don't know, the last round of Nationals, Carson and Patrick, and they're struggling to do the math of can we tie or not, and still get into top cuts. And they were going. We had discussed it for like 10 minutes, and then they said, okay, you got to go ahead and start. And they were going to play it out. So there was a chance that either you or Carson doesn't make top cuts. And Carson ends up going all the way to second. And there's a chance if you guys play that game, he's not even in top cuts. If you had won the game. Or you're not in top cuts. Yeah.
And for me, I really, really wanted to get into top cuts because I had never topped an event before Nationals at all. And I just desperately wanted to get in.
Yeah, but you guys realized, if we tie, then we're going to be like 30th and 31st or something.
Yeah, and I think Carson probably could have beat me in this round had he sideboarded into a different character.
Toru won,
and then, but then I couldn't keep attacking, and had he had the powerful swing back, I think he could have killed me. But I mean. Who knows how it would have worked out, but I squeaked ahead, and then the very next one I go against Cameron Cardwell, who's playing a Murio as well. Caldwell. Sorry. I'm playing against him, and he's playing Murio, but the issue is he's not playing 4 Phantom Threats because he didn't have 4 Phantom Threats, and so just Phantom Threats win the game in general for Murio, and so I came out ahead, and he just barely didn't make it. I felt a little bad there.
I was looking at y'all's match. Actually, if you guys would have tied, you both would have made it.
Yeah, but I really, as a hyper aggressive Murio, I desperately needed to go first throughout, and I did win every time I went first. It's just against Jose.
Right. When you're playing, I win on turn 2 Murio. The difference between going first and going second is huge. Mm-hmm. And that might have been the difference in the finals. Yeah. Just Jose went first with Ryukyu, you went second. And when you're going so close to each other, I mean, when both decks are very coin flip type decks, that can sometimes be the difference. So it makes sense that you played the round.
Yeah.
So that you can go second overall.
I had an absolute blast the whole event. Had a bunch of games go my way because of luck, where I misplay, but I'm not punished. I had a bunch of rounds where I got unlucky. I end up topping, and then I'm sitting there in my house waiting to start, and I'm terrified that I'm going to go one and done again, just like at Nationals. I really just want to, get that off my back to say like I can move forward. and then I got to the championship, and then Jose beat me. That's how it goes. He's a great player. Deck sputtered, but it is what it is, and so I had an absolute blast. As soon as I went outside, just took a little walk after the championship, I was just over the moon.
Yeah. Yeah, similar to that. So this year, I got top 16 in Florida and lost in round 1. And then top 16 in the webcam event and lost in round 1. And then at Nationals, I was kind of the same way, where in round 1 of Top Cuts, I go against Ben Hines, and I win for game 1, and then he wins game 2. And all of a sudden, I just felt this like pressure, like just this massive pressure. It was like I was having like flash forwards of the future when I walk away sad and I lost again in round 1 and I'm not going to Worlds. It was like I could like see it all. And then what even added to that was you came up behind me and you're talking to our locals, and I can hear that you lost in your round 1. And I'm thinking, if I lose, we're both going to have done, I mean, in Swiss rounds, we were 13 wins, 1 loss, 1 tie.
3. Well,
uncounting intentional ties. Yeah, if you don't count the intentional ties, 13, 1, 1. So it was like, if I lose this, it's going to look terrible for the deck. And so I had all this pressure. And in fact, if Ben checks a 5, he's going to win on the backswing. So I got kind of lucky at Nationals. And then I was especially happy that you played this event and go all the way to second place, because you once again just proved this build of Murio that we created, where now in Swiss rounds we are 20 wins, I believe, 2 losses, 1 tie. Yeah. So 23 games and we have 20 wins. That's just nuts. I mean, that's like people playing their Nationals lists and their best lists here. I guess a lot of people are just bringing Jet Burn characters to play, but there were still a good number of people gunning for the top prize. So I was very proud that you did this event and proved the deck just one more time before Capture Evildoers get banned. I feel like you and Jose kind of joined forces and just body slammed Capture Evildoers, and it's going to catch a ban tomorrow, and you'll be able to say that you were a good portion of why it got banned.
Because I really believe that if Jose didn't get to the top, and if I didn't get to the top, and it's 2 people who are not playing Capture Evildoers, then a lot of people in the community might say, well, I guess it's balanced.
You already had people the night before saying only 3 out of 8 decks are running Capture out of 4, which I'm thinking, that's great. Like, that already is crazy. Like, we have such a wide variety of characters in this game and strategies to have 3 of the top 8 running it. But you had people saying that's not a really big deal.
Yeah, and so to have us go at the end, and then especially to show that, like, the best counterplay against Capture Evildoers is other Capture Evildoers. And so
the best way to beat the strategy, just to play the strategy.
Yeah, and so we were talking before the stream started that, like, okay, you and me, let's do it. Let's get this thing banned, and I really hope it is. I really hope it is, because I really want to play Bakugo 4 of the Winter Clash event coming up. But if it's not banned, I'm going Murio again, or maybe I join the dark side.
I've had people reach out to me and say, if Capture Evildoers is banned, it's not going to be legal in your event, right? Like, nobody, like, if UVS Games, if you're watching, nobody wants to play Capture Evildoers decks at the moment.
Even the people who are playing Capture Evildoers.
Yeah, like, we just had our best success ever off of Capture Evildoers, and we want it gone.
Yeah, and Jose wanted it gone. I mean, there's a viral clip of him ripping up Capture Evildoers. None of us want to see it. I mean, I'm sure there are people out there who love the card and whatnot, and all of my favorite decks have used it. And so, I mean, I've seen its success. I just think it's time to stop cheating Progressive. I think maybe it'd be fair if there wasn't so much card draw in the game. I think Good Punches just draws non-stop, every attack draws, and then Ryuku, every attack draws, and so when you're just seeing so many cards and then going off of Progressive, it's just unfair.
Yeah,
other decks, maybe if you go attack, clear, attack, or maybe one more attack because you didn't draw as many, then I think, okay, that's fair. But when you have a turn where you're seeing 10, 15 cards, you're always going to have the attacks, and it just
and that's
becomes
fundamentally
too much.
what both the decks are doing, right? So there's two things that hold Capture Evildoers back in a balanced format. One, it's an action, and it's coming out of your hand and not replacing itself. So it is costing you a card in your hand, a resource. Two, it has discard of momentum. Theoretically, you shouldn't have momentum until turn 3, because you would have had to have dealt damage on turn 2 to get your momentum. But now Murio gets 2 Undaunted raid cards, Phantom Threat, go to your momentum, easy peasy. Rejuvenating Smash, combine it with raiding the villain's hideout, you get your momentum. So Murio has 8 different cards in his deck that just gets him a momentum. And then Ryuku is like both of those on steroids. She's drawing a card on every single attack, basically, and she's getting a momentum on every single attack. So in the Capture Evildoers sense, Ryuku is more consistent than Murio, and Murio was already crazy consistent.
Yeah.
And so the two downsides of the card, the momentum and the taking it out of your hand, just don't exist in today's format, and it has to go.
Yeah, I completely agree. If you don't take it out, then you have to attack Ryuku and Murio in some other way, and the only way to really hurt Murio is to take away Phantom Threat, and then now you're banning SRs, and if we're opening that door, and then maybe 100 repeated gets hit, and it just opens up a waterfall. It's just so much easier just to take the card, the action, Capture Evildoers, kill it, and if you loved the effect, print out a new action, and if you want to do a card pool clear, make it cost more. Or make it not do both of the enhances. Both of the enhances are insane. Just make it have one enhance, and now all of a sudden, okay, it doesn't feel great.
Maybe the top enhance, instead of remove arrival momentum, add the top card of your deck to your momentum. People would still play it if it just said remove arrival momentum.
Yeah.
Like just having a momentum hate and getting to selective, because with Capture Evildoers you also get to selectively pick, so you can take out their Electric Jolt or take out their Deception Dagger. There's a million different ways it could be toned down. It feels like where we were with One with Nature, where sure, not every single deck was running One with Nature. It still was ruining people's days playing the game. And especially at locals, nobody wants to play against it.
It's Capture. If Capture Evildoers doesn't get a hit, I think just watching the Discord, I think there's going to be a riot, and so I am praying that tomorrow something happens, or today.
Yeah, hopefully by the time you're watching, I'll probably put this video up tonight at like midnight, but hopefully by the time, if you're watching a day later, this is all just a moot conversation that we're having right now. Yeah. Any other cards that you'd like to see banned tomorrow?
Not particularly. I think in general, I like the strategy of less bans, less erratas is better, just because people do find ways to play around specific cards. I know the joke is that some cards you just can't play around, and so the fact that they say, "Oh, I think they're changing. People are changing the way they play." It's like, are they though? We don't have a way to counter it. And so, but I do think, in general, I believe in that strategy, less bans. And so, would I like to see other cards banned? Maybe no. At this point, no. If Overhaul becomes a terror again, then maybe cut maximum Overhaul. But until we see that, I would say just Capture Evildoers, do the minimum, but do the necessary. I feel like the UVS team has been so worried about not cutting something that they're taking too long. So I agree with their intention. I just think this one's too egregious.
I felt that way on my Twitter. I tweeted out, or X, sorry, not Twitter. But on X, I what do you say, X'd out? I tweeted out my disappointment with the ban list. I said I felt like Capture Evildoers and Maximum Overhaul were just layups. And you can't miss your layups. And then 2 hours later, I thought I was too negative, and I tried to be positive, and so I went and deleted it. So you can't find it today. But I said, come on, you can't miss your layups like this. That was something Maximum Overhaul brings me. But yeah, New training method and maximum overhaul are my cards number 2 and 3 I'd like to see gone. New training method just because it annoys me. It's not like it's warping the format right now. Sorry, if you can hear like little dog whines, it's because I put my pug in her crate so that she wouldn't be going crazy during this interview, but now she's going crazy because she's in her crate. But maximum overhaul brings me to something else about this weekend, which we did not see overhaul. Mm-hmm. They put out the representation, and we didn't even see 5 overhaul.
Yeah, it was wild. I do believe that if this event was played, longer in this life cycle of this new set, we'd see overhaul return. But I think so many people are wanting to play new characters. Now, Murio did come in a big force. But I think probably people saw what we saw in that, like, hey, look, a bunch of new high attacks just came out. People are going to be playing their decks are probably going to skew high block, and lows are going to be do really well. The deck hasn't gotten any worse. It's just now's the time. So I don't think overhaul's gone. I think he's just not being played by the top players. And I think that'll change here in a bit as more the new as the new car smell kind of fades from this newest set.
Yeah, people are tired of them. They want to play the new stuff because I do think the Earth symbol got a ton better. Mm-hmm. We saw like 7 of my top 10 cards I think were Earth symbol cards. We saw 25% of top cuts was the Earth symbol. We saw the Sato and Nomu, which I knew somebody was going to take Zero Gravity Rush and Nomu and just crack it in half. And I really liked Sam's list. It was such a different take on Earth Nomu compared to where the Nomus were at Nationals and in the Undaunted Raid meta. So that's really fun to see the new set completely shake up a already kind of established deck. I felt like all the Nomus were always running Relentless Barrage, Muscle Mauler, some form of that, and with Tetsu Thrashing. But this list was a very cool list. It was also running that Quick Response, Destroy for 2 speed, and then Falling Skies, just a ton of jet burn cards. But I do think Overhaul just probably plays the Earth build better.
Yeah.
And gets
it's more consistent.
The new stuff. Yeah. And you get access to Maximum Overhaul. Yeah. To me, one of the best attacks in the game.
Especially late game.
Yeah, especially late game when you get to just pick up your Hardened Frenzies.
Yeah, just pick up every single thing that you need for your kill turn. You've got it. I mean, maybe turn 2 you don't have it. Turn 5, turn 4, you've got it. So maybe they take a swipe at it. I doubt they do with how patient they've been being in this meta.
Yeah, because he just didn't show up.
Yeah,
can't really do anything with them at the moment. But I think that was my only surprise of like top cuts. Honestly, top cuts was like 0 surprises. Sato was somewhat surprising, but he's always been fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I would have liked to play against that edge shot. I still don't have any play tests against edge shot. That was a fun deck.
That was actually Barlow. We played in round 8 at Nats.
Yeah.
And we tied. He was on Amajiki. And then we've been playtesting quite a bit in the last few weeks. Remember how I said that Patrick and I have stopped playtesting each other because we've been playtesting with all the friends that we've made in the community and at Nationals and things. And so I've playtested with Barlow quite a bit. And the first time I played his Void Edge Shot list, he killed me on turn 2 games in a row. And then we saw in the stream how defensive he took the deck. Because that Sato match was 2.5 hours. Yeah. I know you were texting me like, what is going on? They won't let me start round 2. And it's like, well, this match is going on nearly 3 hours now.
It was wild. And I was like, I can't look at the stream because I think that's not allowed, but I don't know. And so I was just like texting people like, can somebody get on stream and just tell me if this is close? Because I gotta know.
So, you were allowed on stream though. But
I am.
Yeah. Patrick was like, "Am I allowed to watch this stream?"
I've never top gutted before until so I don't know the rules yet.
Well, let me see. I think I've had so much. Yeah, I've had so much to talk about. I had so many questions prepared. I wanted to talk about how you got into the game, how we decided on the list, what was your Nationals experience.
I think we can.
Okay, yeah, we could take it a little longer, I suppose.
Just maybe we cut down the Nationals experience, because I mean Nationals was just like this weekend, a blast, a big headache on trying to figure out the math of every turn, and just an absolute wonder to Top Cut, just like this event. Phenomenal event. But that's
yeah, and there's a surprising number of amount of math to do with Murio, because, or at least sequencing. Like, if you play Capture Evildoers on your Phantom Threat, then your Rejuve's not going to be your second attack. If you play Phantom Threat before Rejuve and you put it in your Momentum, then you can't get the Momentum off of Rejuve. And then you have to combo your Valiant Assault. And so if you only draw a Phantom and a Valiant Assault, now you have to combo there. So there is like sequencing issues to be done. It's not a totally turn your brain off. It's just a 90% of your brain.
Yeah, and but you are allowed to still get wins turning off your brain, though, just because he's got defense on face, he's aggro as heck, and so I think he allows you to not have to play perfectly, but when you do play perfectly, he's phenomenal. Yeah, but the other thing about Nationals is that I really loved was the community. I don't normally talk a lot I'm more introverted generally, but so many people came up to me and said, "Hey, are you Let's Talk UVS?" I was like, no, that's my brother. And so just by default, I was talking to a lot more people, made a bunch of really good friends. I'm able to play against other people now. And so I love the Nationals event for the community, and then also for the games. But but that's Nationals. Yeah, we look very, very similar to each other. So people were constantly getting us mixed up. But for those of you who don't know, Patrick is my older brother. He's 4 years older than me. And we have a brother in between us, 2 years older than me. And he actually lives in Tennessee, and he does not play the game, but he should be playing the game. So William, if you're out there and you're watching this, you need to pick up the game and play with us. Come join us. You don't even need to buy cards. Just get on Tabletop Simulator. Yeah. And Christmas is coming up. We'll buy you all the cards. Yeah. You just tell us that you want Universes. We'll hook you up. Come join the family. One of us. No, but that is kind of how we got started in the game, though. Just to pull it all the way to the very beginning. Was just we were looking for something that just you and I could play together. And I was at a local game store, not the one that we play at, but just one that just opened up, and they were having a grand opening, and I was just walking around, and there's nothing really speaking to me, but I felt like I needed to buy something to support it. I saw that they're making a My Hero card game. Said I had no idea what any of this is about. I don't really play many competitive card games, really none competitively. And so, but I just thought I'm gonna help this store, and so I bought some, and then you said, "Hey, look, I'll go 50-50 on with it." Might as well buy it. And we just play together, and then you find the website saying, "Hey, look, we can get points if we show that we're playing each other," and so you put on the website our matches, and then because when we started the game, I decided to main Mount Lady. Mm-hmm. And I wanted some promo cards, and I wanted Capture Evildoers to bring it all the way back. I wanted Capture Evildoers for my momentum strategy with Mount Lady, and so in order to get the promo points, we had to do these casual matches. But actually, when we were doing the casual matches, I had a local find us and Ozzy emailed me and said, "Hey, I see that you're in Lubbock and you are making locals matches. We have a game here. We have Stormcrow Games here. Why don't you come on down?" Mm-hmm. So it was really cool that we just a good community. The community found us. We were making a little trail showing that we were out there, and then the community said, "Hey, come here. We really want you." And then it was just an absolute blast to find locals. And then I really fell in love with the game the first time I won a local event as Tetsu. And that's my favorite character in the game is Tetsu. I just, unfortunately, Murio does Tetsu, but better. Yeah, he's basically who you started playing the game with. You were playing Good Punches Tetsu. Yeah, with him, Tetsu's like, okay, got defense on face, I stack damage. And then Murio says, I've got defense on face, that's even better. I stack damage and change the
Yeah.
zone, which was the issue with Tetsu, is he's just throwing out, 4 speed mids.
Yeah, you were just trying to thrashing chain until they lose their blocks in their hand.
And usually, it works as long if every single attack is for 10 damage. You only need to get a couple of those in. And so I won my first locals event, and that's when I fell in love with it, and then never stopped. And then I think you got a little jealous that I won, and you were trying to find strategies, and then you took it to regionals and started dominating, or not dominating.
Yeah, well,
I
copied your deck because Patrick was a menace at our locals, killing everybody with Tetsu thrashing. I wanted to, and then we were going to nationals, and we had both only been playing the game a month and a half, and I had heard from the content creators that Water Asui was nuts. So I picked up Water Asui, and then was playing Tetsu, and it might have just been that I wasn't very, I was trying to play a water 7-hander 1 month into the game, and you're just playing this monkey aggro deck, and I was getting blown up constantly, and I just got fed up with it, and I decided I was going to join the Tetsu thrashing team.
Yeah.
But that I would go the Earth route and use Nomu instead of Tetsu, and use Relentless Barrage, Tetsu thrashing. Yeah, so we basically play the same deck at nationals both years now.
yeah.
Year one, you were Tetsu, I was Nomu, but we were both on the thrashing chains.
Yeah.
And now we're both on Murio, both times basically just playing aggro decks.
Yeah. Although we've gotten better at deck construction and whatnot. I mean, it's I think the Murio deck that was constructed 99.9% by you is I think it truly is the best Murio deck out there, just with just how aggressive it is. And then you don't really have to respect their attack turns, because all you have to do is survive one turn, maybe 2, and you got defense on face, and you don't have to use that on the first attack. You can wait and just to make sure you live. So I think we got better at deck construction, and that was good. But yeah, that's how we got started with it. Is just buying a pack of Crimson box of Crimson Rampage. Starting there, and then locals found us, embraced us, and
finding the Discord was a big deal for us too, because we were trying to play the game. I read the rule book twice.
Yeah.
Could not get the game. We tried to play each other. We were breaking so many rules when we played each other.
Oh, yeah.
Finally found the Discord. And then the rules questions, you could just type in something and somebody answers you within 15 seconds. And that's when everything opened up.
Yeah.
For me, was the rules Discord.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, let's just pause the game for 30 seconds. Somebody will answer us.
Yeah. The community is so great. Very welcoming. It's just, I love this game. I love it. So.
Yeah. Everybody at, anyway, nationally, I've had people like, hey, play test with me. You've had people test with me. And then we don't have time to test with each other anymore. But speaking of like how we found the game to play something together, you were always trying to get me into video games, but I can't do video games. Then we tried to do Warhammer. I couldn't do Warhammer. I couldn't do the 40K. I wanted Warhammer Fantasy back. But and then we tried to do Magic the Gathering. We went to a few Friday night Magic nights.
Oh, right. We did.
Yeah, and those were fun.
But we just didn't know the cards.
And Magic was putting out too many sets. And then I was like, okay, what's the competitive scene in Magic like? Well, this store plays Modern. This store plays Commander. Yeah. Well, what is the main competitive Magic? And then I go online. Oh, there's not really a big... You have 10 different formats. Oh, and you have this... you can play like on the app or something. And... It was all just, and then they're releasing like 10 sets a year. It felt like
you have to know all the cards that have come out, which now I feel the struggle. There's a real struggle for new players in the My Hero format. Is that now you've got so many sets to learn. Whereas the big draw for us was that, hey, look, we can get in essentially at the ground floor of this new revamp of UVS, and then we don't have to know years worth of history, like with Magic. And
yeah. Well, that was the confusing thing of buying the box, opening the first pack, and then there was a weird Universus logo on the back.
Yeah, we didn't get that.
It was like, this is kind of an ugly card back, and what is this? And then we realized that it was this game. The new card backs, by the way, are a million times better, in my opinion, because that was a big downside early to the game for me. It was like, I don't really like this, but I wanted it to say My Hero card game, because that was what the packaging said.
Yeah,
that's My Hero card game.
That's the box we bought.
Yeah.
We didn't know the history.
Yeah. Much easier to come in 2 sets into the game and jump into it, rather than Commander, like 100 cards, everything's different. So that's how you got into the game, but I think we probably should go ahead and close this out.
Yep.
But if you had to name, now that we're expanding into other avenues, one, does that make you sad that we're going away from My Hero only? Because we're big anime fans and fans of My Hero Academia. Does it make you sad that My Hero's leaving as the main IP? And then what new shows do you want them to bring in, if you had to name 3?
Yeah, I have mixed feelings about the change in IPs. I love the My Hero format, but I do see that, you can't follow one anime forever, especially if that anime is going to end and then the player excitement for that IP is going to go down.
Yeah.
So I get it. And I am excited about new sets and whatnot. I'm trying to get into some of these new anime that are coming. I'm trying to get into the Trigun Stampede.
Yeah,
I'm like 3 episodes in, and it's just not.
That's where I stopped.
Yeah, it's just
I couldn't do it past 3 episodes.
It's not my cup of tea.
I liked the main character, but they were just like, it felt like it was going, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened.
So it's just like with My Hero, it's something I love, and then these other IPs, I just don't have that love for it. And so, but then they're bringing in Attack on Titan, and that's an anime that I absolutely love. And so I do think, and then I've also kind of got mixed feelings, because I know a lot of people who have history in the game love the fighting game aspect. I mean, it plays like a fighting game. It's based on fighting game, and I'm not a fighting game guy, and so I don't care as much. Even though the old squad, the people who've been
UFS players,
they love that back. For me, I'd love them to keep in the shonen anime route. I think that just works really well. Different powers works well on the different characters. I love how UVS is able to kind of capture each power and put it into a card. I think overall very, very, very good. And so I'd love other kind of just shonen battle anime. Jujutsu Kaisen would be phenomenal. Chainsaw Man, phenomenal. One Punch Man, Mob Psycho 100. Any of those would absolutely love it. But really just...
if you had to pick one of those 4, Mob Psycho, Chainsaw Man, One Punch Man, or what was the other one?
Jujutsu Kaisen.
I still haven't watched that.
Oh, you are in for a treat.
I've watched the first episode 3 times.
Yeah, no.
But you keep telling me to watch it, and that it's great, and everybody else keeps telling me to watch it.
No, you gotta watch it. So if they could get Jujutsu Kaisen, that'd be so good, especially just coming onto the wave of how popular it is right now. Would be great. I do think One Punch Man would be phenomenal. Just Mob Psycho would be phenomenal. But if I had to pick one, maybe Chainsaw Man. No, Jujutsu Kaisen. Final answer. Lock it in.
There you go.
Number 1.
Well, let me see. Okay, I'll leave you off on one last question.
Okay.
Who are you going to play for the Winter Clash?
It's Bakugo. It's Bakugo 4, and unless Capture Evildoers isn't hit. If Capture Evildoers is not hit, I am running back Murio. And
the reason for that, by the way, is that I have not made this announcement yet because our event page of the Winter Clash is having a hard time. But we had a community member donate a good chunk of change to the prizing pool. So it was already like for $12, you were going to walk away. If we have 100 players, you're going to walk away with $400 in a case, like $1,000 worth of prize. And now it just got even better. So if Capture Evildoers is not banned, you almost have to play Murio.
I have to play the best deck in the format, and I just don't want to play Ryuku, so I'm going to play Murio. But if it's banned, like I hope it is, then I'm going to play Bakugo 4. I've been loving the way that character plays. I don't think he's as consistent in any way as Murio, but it's a game style that I like. And I just bought a Chrome Rare of Bakugo, and I want to flex that on on there. I really, really, really like the character. Bakugo has been my favorite in the anime, and the new card, the way it plays, is so fun, and so I really want to play Bakugo 4.
Well, that's going to do it for this interview. But before we let you go, any last shout outs that you want to make?
I shout out to everybody I play on Discord, Tabletop Simulator, who agrees to play with me, and everybody I played yesterday or over the tournament. And a big shout out to Andrew Porap for play testing with me so often. And I guess you for play testing with me all the time. And
that Let's Talk UBS guy. He's the best creator.
He's the number one show I watch on YouTube. I very much believe that he deserves to subscribe. Like and subscribe this video.
I don't think it's a coincidence that you and Andrew play tested so much against each other and then both made top cuts. That's kind of just how it goes. But that is going to do it for this. We've been thinking about doing some sort of, or I've been thinking about doing some sort of weekly podcast, maybe monthly podcast with us. And I don't know what we would name it. Something along the lines of Brothers, where we just talk about the state of the game. But if you'd like to see that, let us know in the comments. And that's going to be it for us.